let's face it, it is hard to write a fantastic tech resume. There are a lot of do and don'ts when it comes to crafting a ridiculously awesome tech resume that will attract the dream job interview request that you are looking for. It doesn't matter how skilled you are, how experienced you are. It doesn't matter if you are a genius or not, or if you know how to traverse a binary tree in the middle of the night, or if you can do in 3 seconds a linked list, or whatever else you have your geniuses in. It doesn't matter. When it comes to finding a job or getting an interview in tech, you need to have a tech resume. As you beautiful people and smart people put the 2 and 2 together and probably got 12, or maybe something else, I don't know, you are going to see me talking about tech resumes in this video. So here are the timestamps of the things that I'll be covering. We'll be talking about different things regarding about how to build a tech resume, tips and tricks on what to do, what not to do on a tech resume, and other statistics and other useful information. So if you're interested, keep on watching and let's dive in. So let's start with a simple question. What is really a resume? Simply put, a resume is an ad. It's actually your ad, your marketing tool that you are using to showcase your skills and experience for potential employers. So what should a tech resume include? If you want to get an interview with Google or an interview with Facebook or an interview with Microsoft or any of the FANG companies, if that's your dream, or any other tech companies, it doesn't have to be a giant tech corporation, your tech resume anyways have to showcase your skills and your experience, and at the same time to demonstrate that you have what it takes to get the job done for that particular role that you're applying to. We live in a time where for our industry, it's not necessary to apply in person. Matter of fact, let's say if you want to apply for a software engineering position, most likely you are applying and looking for job opportunities on job boards, on career boards, on the particular company. Let's say you might be looking at Microsoft career page or Google career job postings and so on, right? So you can imagine that that opens up an opportunity for a lot of people to apply for the same job. I'll talk about more statistics in just a moment. So what really happens when you submit your resume online is the following. The majority of companies, tech companies, and not only tech companies, are using a software solution called ATS, which stands for the following: Application Tracking System, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And they use that to scan, search, and keep track of your resume. As you said, we already talked about, the applying online for a position can result in many applicants, and it's just not feasible to have every single resume to be reviewed by a human being. So therefore, companies are using ATS software to look and scan your resume. So when you click submit on your job application, your resume most likely is going to be ingested by the ATS software, and it will be analyzed, scanned, and compared against the qualifications and skills necessary for the job that you're applying to. And if everything works out, all the qualifications needed, or the majority of them are met, that means that your resume will get into the next step and getting into a match scenario, and at that time it might land in inbox of a human being to actually be reviewed. So why is that important to know that information? It's really important to know that because if you know that your resume is not necessarily going to be viewed immediately or first by a human being, and there's actually a robot or a machine or an algorithm looking and scanning and analyzing your resume, you can strategically plan and build your resume in such a way that knows what to do, and it's prepared to be scanned by a machine, and it's prepared to be scanned by a human being. So let's look at some hard facts, some statistics, and what's going on about the tech industry, about the job search and recruitment process, numbers, statistics, and stuff like that. So I found all of this online, different hacker reports, or just Googling for stuff. So if you're curious, you can continue with that research. And also some of the materials that I use for this video will be linked in the description below. Let's look at the actual average application per role. And I will look at the numbers that is based on the size of the company. Because if the company has an open role and the size of the company is less than 1,000 people, the average applications per that role is 119, versus companies that have more than 1,000 employees, there are about 566 applications for a single role, open role. So you can only imagine that's a lot, and there are people who eventually are reviewing your resumes. That means that they have a lot of things to review. And in reality, there is not only one open position that it needs to be filled. There are 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. So there's another statistic and interesting fact to keep in mind when you're building your resume is that on average, every recruiter spends about 6 seconds on the resume. So you have only 6 seconds to grab the attention of your resume reviewer. So that's something that you have to keep in mind when you are building and crafting your awesome, ridiculously awesome tech resume that will attract like a magnet your dream job. So let's look at the next fact is that what is actually the throughput of those applications? And the throughput, I mean that how many from those applications that it was reviewed are being invited for an interview. And that number is about 26% of the applicants are actually being invited for an interview. Having those numbers in mind, you need to have a strategy when you're building your resume. And next we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts, tips and tricks about what your resume should look like and what should it contain and how it should be formatted, designed, and so on. So what does a perfect tech resume look like? I think that's $1 million question. What would you say? Great question. So I want to start this with the principle, the principle that we all know in computer science. One of the many ones is the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid, or stupid, or keep it stupid, simple, whichever order it is. I forgot. And the thing is that we need to keep our resumes, or you need to keep your resume simple and easy to read. You need to have a clean formatting. You keep your resume clean and simple and eligible and easy to comprehend. So what does that really mean? What is the best format? You need to have a single column. Yes, you heard me right. A single column format design. You need to have the information in a reverse chronological order, and you need to have a bullet point for each things, your accomplishments that you want to list. Also, please know about this. A lot of resumes right now are popular online. You will see stuff that have graphics, that they have a left column and then the right column and multi-column scenario, different colors and stuff like that. Don't do that. That is aesthetically beautiful, but it's not the goal of your resume. Your resume has to attract your resume or an interview. And having something that is really beautifully designed is not necessarily the goal. Maybe if you're a designer, that's a different question. But the fact is that you need to keep it simple, without graphics, without underlines, without different, like 5 different fonts. The size of your font, it matters. Everything has to be consistent. And why is this important is that, as I already said, most likely your resume will land into the pile of to go through an ATS, and the reality is that ATS are not that smart and they don't know how to process multi-column information. They don't know what to do with graphics, with images, with logos and stuff like that. So going back to keep it simple, stupid. And if you keep your resume simple and legible and easy to comprehend, it's so much easier for that person who's reviewing your resume and has only 6 seconds to look at the resume. It's much easier for them to get the information they need. Moving on, we need to make your resume understandable. And that means that every single bullet point that you have, it has to communicate clearly your accomplishments. So hear me here, please, please, please do not copy your job description into your bullet points. You have to craft your bullet points that will talk about what was the task, what were their accomplishments, what were the results of that job. Don't ever describe your responsibilities or put your responsibilities there. So what is the layout? The layout is simple. You have your name at the top, contact, and links to your profile or GitHub or LinkedIn. Then you have your skills. And here it depends, next section depends on your level of experience. If you're an experienced person in tech, you put your professional experience, then you put your projects, if you have any of them, education, and then other area like certification, volunteering, and any other things that you need to do. And if you are an entry-level person who doesn't have experience, after your skills, you list your projects, you talk about your experience, education, and other things that you want to include. And all of this has to fit in one page. If you have like more than 20 years of experience, maybe you can have a justification to have multiple pages in a resume, but if you have less, it should be only one page. There are a lot of do's and don'ts when it comes to building a ridiculously awesome tech resume that lands you the job interview request that you are dreaming of and looking forward to get into interview. I'm sure you want to do all the interviews, right? Their technical interviews are fun, right? In the description of this video, you will find information how to find an example of tech resume that I used to apply to over 100 job postings that as a result landed me interview requests from Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Stripe, and other 27 or something other companies, tech companies. So you can use it, look at that. I am also working on Craft a Tech Resume Workbook, which is a step-by-step guide that will help you build a perfect tech resume that will attract and lend you the interviews that you are looking for. A resume that you will be proud to submit and wait for the approvals to start compiling in your inbox. So if you're needing guidance on how to craft a perfect tech resume, this workbook gets you covered. Description you will find in the details of this video. So here we are at the end. I shared a lot of different things about resumes. There's so much more that can be talked about this. So if you want to hear me covering more topics in regarding to resumes, to recruiting processes and job search and so on, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer those questions in the upcoming videos. Make sure to like this video so YouTube knows to promote it to people who are also looking for information on resumes and tech resumes and so on. Share, like, subscribe if you haven't done so, and see you in the next video.